Welcome once again to Riffin with Griffin. I am your host, Erik Griffin. I'm back here at All Things Comedy. I know I got my home place, my home studio, and everybody, you guys like that, but I told you I'm still going to be here, especially when I have big guests such as the one that I have today. But so let me start off, let's start the program off with, let me introduce my today's guest. Give it up for the very talented Mr. Aries Spears.
What's up, baby? How y'all doing? Aries Spears in the building.
Aries Spears. I always say it wrong.
We just went through that.
I know. I asked him too. I said, "How do I say it? Is it Aries or Aries?" It's Aries.
Aries, yeah, like
Aries.
a sign.
What does that come from?
You know what, man? My birthday's April 3rd.
Okay. Your parents wanted to black hippies.
Some astrological shit. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you don't listen to my podcast. I say this to everybody because everybody always says, "Oh yeah, I heard some clips," but
right.
I had this thing where when I first started, I do different theme songs. I would do a theme song, and then then people started sending me theme songs.
Really?
Yeah. So
theme songs that were known?
No. They make them. These people make this. This is original music.
But when you say play theme song, it's a theme song that's known?
No. It's a theme song for my show.
Oh, that you created?
Yeah. These people created for me.
I got you. All right.
We got that figured out. Okay, so and then they play it, and every week I get a new one.
And you play them every week.
And I play them every week as a new one. I say I'm always looking for a theme song, and here's a new one. And this one, this is like some of my favorite producers, Eli Winderman and Rob Kimmel. These guys made it, and they're I got to say their band Octopod. Is that right? I think it's Octopod and no, it's Dopapod. There it is, Dopapod and Octave Cat. But they made me a great one, and they sent me another one, and this is it right here. Oh, that's you feel how
like,
stank it is.
You feel like a 80s video game.
No, this is like Beverly Hills Cop 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
We in the car, it's a convertible.
Right.
Oh, check it out.
Screams 80s though, a little bit, don't it? A little bit.
It got that P-fuck on it.
Yeah, I hear that too.
I-I-double-I-F-N.
Word up.
We're ripping with Griffin.
Yeah, now it's coming to life. You come on right between 227 and some other black show.
Right? I'm the friendly, non-threatening.
There you go.
Well, this once again, Detective Designs, Rob and Eli did it again. Now bring it back, y'all. I-I-double-I-F-N. All right, we got it. Anyways.
Well, let me just, if I could first, say thank you, man. Because I stumbled up on you on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw, when you go to the search and all the videos, so I saw you there and had reached out to you and you obliged. So thank you, because I, like you, am a new podcast, been around for about a little over a year. And from what I've been told is you need to get on other people's podcasts for your podcast to grow.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird relationship.
Right. So thank you, because I've gone out to some people and they've said no. So the fact that you've said yes, I appreciate. I owe you one. It would be like the mafia. I'm gonna make a note.
Well, you for sure were like, you definitely was hounding me about it too. Like,
yes, I'm a persistent motherfucker, man.
Yeah, very
to the point
persistent.
of annoying.
It was. I was like, well, maybe.
Or maybe on the cusp, but I just like to get shit done, man.
No, what do you think about like in the podcasting world right now? It's like it's not very black. Have you noticed that?
Well, nothing starts out very black and then it becomes too black. And that's when white folks move out. MTV once upon a time ago didn't allow niggas on. And then all they showed was niggas. And now they're gone.
Well, you remember they had the WB network.
Yeah.
I always think like networks launched themselves on the black platform. They would be like,
this is true.
It was the WB, then it was like, Homeboys in Outer Space, and it was like all these black shows, and now the WB is now CW, and it's white as hell.
Well, here's the underlining. Whether they use us or run away from us, we're not being used properly. You know what I'm saying?
Probably
like
not.
At first they didn't want us. Then when we get in, we oversaturate the market and they get the fuck out. Or they start out with us and make the money off our backs and then go, bye niggas. Either way, it ain't a welcome.
That's how you feel?
I mean, I'm going off of what history's written.
You know what I like to do on the show is
Yes.
I like to like get people's origin story. You know what I mean? So like, where are you from?
New York. Hell's Kitchen, New York. Yeah.
Straight from New York.
Yes, sir.
Now I remember you way back in the day because I remember you being on Def Jam. You're 16 years old, right?
Yeah, 16 with Martin.
You were 16. Martin was the host. That was the heyday.
Yeah, second year.
Yeah, the second year. Oh man, it was like, you ever look back on it now and be like, ooh,
dude, no. You know what? A little bit, but what I really look at more is it's weird because when you go back and look at all those episodes from the beginning, and you see Bill Bellamy and Corey Holcomb and myself and even Dave Chappelle. It was fun watching how raw we were because we would lean on certain things. Like, for instance, and I told Bill this, he would say within his whole set, "That's crazy, right?" 1,000 times. Sometimes, yo, that's crazy, right? Shit, we would never do today. So now, today, we all like John Coltrane and Miles Davis.
Yeah.
We jazz musicians.
Even though Bill still probably has one of the best all-time, if you had to rank the top 5 sets from Def Jam's history, that Booty Call set.
I told him, hey, nigga, they owe you residuals.
Yeah. It's one of the best.
So many people stole from that.
Yeah.
And never gave Bill his shit.
I even do a thing in my act right now where I'm looking through the blinds.
Right. Oh, no, that was, yeah, they owe Bill on that. That's like my man, I'm sure you remember. How old are you?
47.
Okay, see, I'm 40. I just turned 44. So we know, we both know. Remember the dude from the Cosby Show that originated the the Chinese dubbing voice?
Oh, right.
No.
Oh, you talking about Don Reed?
Everybody stole.
Yeah, Don Reed. I call Don Reed old school. Every time I see him on Instagram, I know him well. I'll be like, "What's up, old school?"
Man,
he was the one that did he would do the kung fu.
He started it, and then so many comedians ripped off from that.
Shout out to Don Reed, who when you in LA, I got to get you on. He actually does a great one-man show in the Bay Area.
Yeah, well,
he's still out there doing it.
He was the originator.
Still looks 31 too.
Well, you know how we age, bro. But yeah, man, Bill Bellamy. And Bill was my man coming up in Jersey and New York. East Orange, Peppermint Lounge, Indigo Blues, Tribeca. And like I told Bill, man, I said, man, there have been movies, merchandise, and I'm a fanatic over Sex in the City.
Yeah.
And they use the phrase, so I'm just like, man,
you're talking about just the name, just the words booty call. Yeah.
Yes.
Like he
patented that.
Yeah, he coined it, right?
Right.
Yeah. He probably don't make enough money off of it.
I don't think he makes anything off of it.
Yeah, they even made a movie.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was just like, this is one of the iconic things.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start again. So you're in New York.
Yeah.
At what point did you know you wanted to be a comic? Because you were 16 years old.
Yeah. Well,
so how did you go from knowing to like being on Def Jam at 16?
Let me give you the Cliff Notes. My dad's era was Pryor. Right. My era was Murphy. I was born in 75.
Me too.
80s baby.
Yeah. He's the reason why I'm doing comedy.
Exactly. And I would sit up and watch him with my dad religiously on SNL. And then later on in life, I found out we had the same birthday, same astrological sign.
Oh, wow.
And I just took all of that as a source of inspiration and went, if Eddie can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I just started doing comedy at 14. I did a lot of the Chitlin Circuit clubs in Jersey and New York. And by the time, and I always say this to my man, people give Russell Simmons all the credit for Def Jam because his name is on the bill.
Right.
But if it hadn't been for Bob Sumner,
right,
who was the brain, who he just brought it to Russ and said, Russ, put your stamp on it, and the rest is history. But Bob Sumner, he's the reason that got me in to steer me in this direction. And then by the time I was 16, I made my debut on Def Jam. The next year, I did Showtime at the Apollo when I was 17, and then from there, man, I moved out to LA and
you got on and you had that show.
Sunset. But I got caught up first in what they were doing that they don't do anymore, which was giving cats development deals.
Right.
Back then, if you had any minutes of funny, they signed you up. It was like the draft. They took you off the market. So I went 5 straight years where I was with every network for 1 year, and it probably made just over $1 million with nothing to show for it. So by the time I got to Fox, they actually wanted to audition me for the first year of MadTv, but I couldn't do it because I was locked in a deal with Fox with Aaron Spelling. So I did this show called Crosstown Traffic, which was like the Mod Squad. It came, it went, didn't do shit.
Oh, wow.
And
I was like, so how many shitty shows have you been on?
Oh, dude. My first actual TV show was called South of Sunset.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember because you was in a convertible.
Yes.
You was like king of the world.
Yeah, with Glenn Fry from the Eagles, God rest his soul. And that show came out. We did we didn't even air the whole season. We did one episode and was canceled because number one, the fires were going on, so we never even aired in LA.
Oh wow!
And then we were up against Home Improvement, which was the number one show,
right.
Also Melrose Place. So we got crushed in the ratings. And because Glenn Fry had such a horrible relationship with the network, he did everything he could to piss them off.
Oh, wow.
They said, well, we'll show you.
So you got caught up in that?
Got caught up in that. And by the time MadTV's third season rolled around, I still was with Fox. And the then president, Pina Chernin, was like, hey, man, I like this dude. We couldn't develop nothing for you, but fuck it. Put him on Mad. Uh-huh. And Adam and Fox wanted me anyway. So, there it is.
So at that particular time, though, when you were 16 and you were on that Def Jam stage, did you feel like where did you see your career going at that point?
In my mind, I had it mapped out the same way Eddie's was mapped out.
Yeah, you were going to do your cop movie.
I was going to do 2 years on a sketch show, go into my first big hit movie, and the rest is history, baby.
Yeah.
But, and I will say this. There have been so many people online and in the streets who tell me to this day, MadTV was way better than SNL. Now, we may have been, but they were the big kid on the block.
Well, it's like
we were
no,
CBA.
but it's like somebody liking Sonic Burger over McDonald's. You know what I mean? It might be better, but there's more McDonald's.
and McDonald's got the bigger dick. So, it is what it is.
So so then when you got on MadTV and you were on there for it seemed like forever, right?
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. And then that show's huge. I mean, it's like Bobby Lee's one of my best friends, and he so especially in Canada. You go to Canada a lot?
Dude, when I first went to Canada, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Will Sasso's from Canada, and we were like rock stars out there. And to show you just how vast this shit, especially with YouTube and all the social media.
Right.
The first time I went to South Africa, I shit you not, I had a moment going from getting off the plane to going to baggage claim, where African dude, because I'm big in Africa too, but an African nigga was treating me like I was Hakeem in the bathroom scene and Coming to America. You don't understand how much I love you. Well, the joke when you speak the King's English, your comedy, nigga, I got to kiss your hand. And the man literally grabbed my hand and smooched my shit. And I'm with my bitch, and I'm like, act right. You see who the fuck I am.
Yeah, right.
I might not be too much home, but yeah, I'm a king, bitch. So it was like, mind-blowing to know that I had that kind of reach.
And it was all from MadTV, right?
Yeah.
Like, just like,
and
that's
a little
how
bit
big.
of the stand-up.
Of course. But I'm just saying, like, MadTV is like,
pretty much,
they would watch that, then go watch the stand-up.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny that as you just did that voice, I'm reminded that, that was like one of your things, like impressions.
Yeah.
So like, when did that start? Was that like at 16?
That was Eddie Murphy.
You were watching Eddie Murphy?
When I was watching Eddie, him, the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood, James Brown, Celebrity Hot Tub, I just always had a thing. Plus, my mother's a jazz and blues singer. She used to open up and perform with the great Lionel Hampton. For all you young birds out there, one of the great jazz pioneers, legends of all time. And she had a picture where she sang for Reagan in the White House. So my ear for tone and inflection and rhythm I got from her. So my first impression growing up was Louis Armstrong, because that's who my mother and father would play when I knew they was fucking. Right. When the door was closed and you heard potato, you say tomato. I said, "Oh, Dad, getting it in." They would always try to send us to the store for Haagen-Dazs ice cream and Pepsi. And when we came back, the door was shut and Louis was doing his thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so then I didn't realize that that was part of it, like being a singer.
Yeah, it's like it's like people that have an ear for music. They know tone, they know inflection, they know riffs and rhythms. I would often hear Stevie Wonder and certain R&B singers and go, "How do you make your voice?" the riffs,
right.
And it's a talent and it's an ear that you're born with. So when I would hear certain people, and of course me growing up as a kid in the 80s, Bill Cosby, see, got to have the breaks and what's to put on the paper. So some of that, and Hover Chasey, it's a little bit lighter. So it's just hearing them inflections and knowing how to do them. And I'm gonna tell you, man, who I love to do, and I don't mean to be corny and be like, "Hey man, set me up," but who I love to do, because
it's okay.
Anybody that's new, it's like a mother giving birth to a new child.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit,
so like it's like
a new toy.
It's a new thing, and you're like, I gotta do that voice.
Paul Mooney.
But that ain't even new.
It's not, but it's
now.
new.
Are you doing Paul Mooney falling asleep on stage?
No,
Mooney?
Man, no. Is he that?
Yeah, good old Paul Mooney. I did a show with him maybe last year in the main room, and they got him in a chair, and he's repeating jokes, and he's they had to take the mic away from him. You know what I mean?
I was at Tommy T's in Pleasanton, and Tommy's real close with Paul's brother. So he had called, and I had heard Paul was health-wise kind of going through it. So he had called his brother, and I don't know if you go through this, but one thing I don't like is ask me first before you want to put me on the phone with somebody.
Oh, I can't. Oh, my God.
Because it's like they either want you to do a performance, or sometimes you just don't feel like talking to motherfuckers.
Dude, you didn't like this when your mom did it. It's your aunt. Talk to your Aunt Barbara.
Right.
Talk to your Aunt Barbara. You're like, I want to talk to this bitch.
Exactly.
Hey, Aunt Barbara.
Right. So he called Paul's brother and it's like, yeah, Aries does a great impression of him. You should bring Paul to the show. Maybe they can get on stage together. And this is how I know Paul ain't feeling right. So at one point, he drags Paul out from the green room.
Oh, Jesus.
And I can't go, I got to acknowledge, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Paul. So everybody claps and shit. And at one point, Paul's reaching for the mic to come on stage. And I'm scared to give it to him for the exact reason that you said. First of all, you're going to fuck up the rhythm of my show.
Right.
And then if you ain't Chris Paul, it's one thing to be Chris Paul, do your shit, give it back. I can fall right back in pocket. But if the audience is going, what the fuck are we watching? And now I got to come clean that up.
Yeah.
I don't want that responsibility. So I said, this is how, in my mind, I go, this is how I know Paul fucked up. Because Paul ain't sharing the stage with nobody in his I got it together mind.
Right.
Paul acknowledge you off stage, but nigga, please. So the fact that he was, and he almost looked like he was in a drunken haze. The fact that he was doing that, I was like, yeah, this motherfucker ain't right. But to relive the good Paul, he's here now. And Erik, you're going to ask Paul a question. And Paul's going to answer to you in his right mind.
Hello, Mr. Mooney.
What's going on, brother?
What do you think of the state of black comedy today?
Nigga, what do you think of the state of black comedy today? You don't gotta ask me. We niggas, we know what it is. And I know you light-skinned, nigga. I know you have white in you. Ask that white man to ask that nigga in you what's for the state of comedy. Don't ask me shit.
Stop it.
Niggas are crazy.
Oh my God! People don't even know. But people that listen to my podcast won't even. That's how long ago.
Right.
To the point where his sons are doing comedy.
Well, here's what's wild too. People will often request me.
You know what? Don't bang this too much because you hear how you can hear it.
I got you.
They got to get some shocks for this. That's the next step, Aaron. Because people keep people complain about this.
Now I know. People will often come to my show, black people, and go, "Hey man, do that Paul Mooney." And the problem is this: if I do a show where the audience is predominantly black,
right,
and I'm not talking about Huxtable niggas, I'm talking about good times.
Yeah.
Then that'll fly. But places where I go where it's real diverse, maybe a lot of white people, you don't really know who Paul is unless you either a diehard comedy fan, both black and white, or you some niggas.
Yeah.
White folks don't really know who Paul is, and even the niggas that read don't know who Paul is.
And don't want to, maybe.
Don't want to know.
They're trying to move on to
exactly. So it's hard. Doing Paul Mooney is not like doing Bill Cosby or Shaquille O'Neal, where that's universally loved and has a certain amount of appeal. Paul is a selective taste.
Now, what do you think about the fact that when you were coming up and you were doing the Chitlin circuit and you do a lot of black rooms even today, I mean, do you still see like a distinct difference between the two audiences?
Yeah. Like doing DC, even though DC and Baltimore, Maryland ain't that far, the mentality. Black people in DC, because it's such a metropolitan, well-to-do area.
I just got back from DC.
Right. Look, niggas is niggas, right? But there's degrees to niggas. Like I say this on stage sometimes. I'll say to a white person, hey, you know the difference between me and this nigga here with the gold in his mouth and the sunglasses on here in the dark club? I'm the Huxtables. That's good times. So sometimes the mentality doesn't fit depending on the comic style. For instance, I had asked the host there, whose name is Bama, I said, man, this room is always in 98 predominantly % black, and there's some rough niggas in here.
You talking about Alabama?
No. It's a comic named Bama.
Oh, okay, I know another comic. No, I'm saying I know another comic named Alabama. So I thought you were shortening his name.
No, it might be Alabama.
Oh.
Yeah, nigga, the chest look like a refrigerator.
Yeah. Got long
dreads. He cut them now.
That's Alabama.
Okay, I call him Bama. Okay. All right. I said, y'all ever get any white artists in here who's filled this room out? He said, yeah, twice. We got Tom Green and Tom Arnold. And the audience was predominantly white? He was like, yeah. Because you will ever see any white people in there. So he goes,
you're talking about the Comedy Factory.
The Baltimore Comedy Factory.
Yes, I've done the Baltimore Comedy Factory.
Yeah. So you know, it's
when I first did the Baltimore Comedy Factory, when they used to do it above the deli, and it was like you did a Thursday night and you did 3 shows Friday, 3 shows Saturday.
Right.
My thing would be one of the shows would be white, one of the shows would be mixed with like country folks, and then there would be a Def Jam show.
No, all of it's Def Jam now.
For you. No. I'm telling you for me. The reason why
even when you do it now?
I haven't done it because I just did Magoobies.
Oh, okay.
Because the Comedy Factory keeps moving around.
Right. Well, the last location they were at before this current one was right at the power plant. So where it was the old Improv before they changed it.
Right. But they've actually moved to a different location.
I didn't know that.
You probably haven't been there since the shooting or whatever happened.
Right. I know there was a stabbing.
Yeah, I'm saying the stabbing.
Right.
But it was when your weekend, right? Didn't somebody get stabbed at a weekend?
Yeah. And the police station is down the street.
Right.
But let me go back to anyway. We were talking about the racial mix-up of the crowd.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. And he said, and he goes, well, there's some brothers that come here that just they don't do well. I said, who you talking about? Jerrod Carmichael. And I go, I could see that. And this is no slight to Jerrod, but as I'm saying, some niggas, audience-wise, are equipped to play chess. But them niggas are equipped for shoots and ladders over there.
Yeah.
They not.
Dominoes,
nigga. They not. Jerrod Carmichael is a little too, what's the word I'm looking for?
Sedity?
No.
Jerrod's one of my best friends too,
savvy.
By the way. Yeah.
Savvy.
He's a very smart
dude.
His
cadence is slower.
Yeah.
So he don't give you that, what's up, niggas?
Yeah.
And that energy that sometimes
that they're looking for.
Yeah, they want that fast food.
Yeah, but I'm noticing, like, so are you seeing, are you drawing that crowd? Is it you that's drawing that crowd? Like when you go other places other than you can just draw them more? Or like the black folks, are the good times folks coming to see you?
I draw niggas that read. But I also draw drug dealers too. Yeah. And this is not me in any way tooting my own horn, but because I grew up such a fan of Eddie Murphy and Pryor, and I studied those guys, and Dave Chappelle, I love it when that audience is the mixture of everything. I think hardcore, not hardcore, white, black. It's more fun that way for me.
Yeah, I think the best ratio of an audience is like when it's half white.
Right.
Okay. And then there's enough black people that they're not scaring these white people, but they feel like they're a part of what the black people are laughing at.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also think even if that's not the makeup, what is a testament to a comic's brilliance is if the material, despite all that, can bring them together and make them see what you want them to see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There are some comics who simply cannot do that. Like I remember one time I just got back from a gig and I'm at Baggage Claim and it's me, Alex Thomas, and Joe Torre. And we were talking about comedy clubs we like. And I was like, man, I'm cool on Atlanta because them niggas out there is just too. And he was telling me, and it was funny. He was like, I told the promoter, the guy that is suck my dick, fuck you, and nigga this and nigga that, and pull all the stereotypical nigga shit. Yeah. There's a night for him. Yeah. But you can't put him in front of me and this nigga's wrapping up his set talking about, and that's how you eat corn out of bitch booty hole. You ready for your headliner?
Oh,
and I'm supposed to come out and talk about my trip to France?
Yeah. Wait, dude, you talk about the Atlanta Comedy Theater? Okay, check this out. I just did the Atlanta Comedy Theater maybe like 6 months ago.
Right.
I know the owner. I didn't realize that this was just the what was it used to be called? What was he a part of? Uptown. I didn't know, or I would have said no. Atlanta Comedy Theater sounds like it's a nice, Let
me stop because I want to ask you if I think I know where you're going. Because they move locations.
Yeah.
So have you done the most current one?
Yes.
Where they got the throne chair, the Game of Thrones chair, off to the side for people to take pictures in?
No, I haven't seen that.
The cordless mic with the metal all over the ceiling?
It looks like it's in like a little strip mall. You know,
I think so.
Yeah, this is it. I don't remember all that stuff because I was already so like taken aback by. First of all, luckily they had 2 green rooms. Okay, so I'm in one,
right,
and I make myself very unapproachable. Like I'm in here.
Right.
Yeah, you all can go, and so the other green room is like apparently every comic in LA, every comic in Atlanta is in this green room about to do a guest set.
Right.
I'm not asked. Nobody says, hey, can such and such do a guest set? Nobody asked me, the headliner of the fucking show. No. Hey, I'm yeah, we doing guest sets. And then the DJ want to play like a whole, he don't want to just play a song. He want to say, hey man, what Biggie album you want to come out to?
Right. So the show starts extremely late, unlike the white clubs. And again, I even said to my feature, I go, are we the stars or the DJ? Because this nigga's doing his mixtape thinking Diddy's in the audience.
No, and even worse is like the MC who it's like they're coming across like it's actually their night. You know, it's like their night and they're the MC. And then like, you know, you're in there. Okay, but here's the thing. My people that like me, they watch Workaholics and I'm dying up here. And like, so I'm talking about there's white people and Asians and they came to that club.
Right.
So when I got on stage, I look at their faces and I had to go like this. Hey, I didn't know it was this black either. That just to disarm, you know what I mean?
For the people that don't really know the insides and outs of comedy, this is why this is refreshing to me. Because I have a reputation in this business and amongst the comedy community of being an asshole.
Well, hold on now.
Well, before we dive into that.
Okay, I want to dive into that.
Please, because I want to just coattail on what you just said.
Go.
Part of the reason this comes is because I'm aloof. I don't hang around a lot of people. I don't like doing jazz hands. I'm a quiet motherfucker, and I stick to myself. Aloof is often perceived as asshole. Just because I don't come talk to you or smile, it doesn't mean I think I'm better than you. It doesn't mean I'm trying to be an asshole. This is just who I am. When I'm not performing, I'm a quiet motherfucker.
Right.
And also, because I've been doing this for 30 years, which means, in my mind at least, I've earned a certain amount of stripes. So if I'm the headliner, it's my show. Like it would be any other headliners.
Right.
If I want to bring a white feature because I've had black features and 25 minutes of you doing black-white comedy, then me doing 30 minutes of black-white comedy, it's too much. So I'm not even saying you can't do race humor, but I don't want to bombard my audience, especially if it's mixed with white people. Oh, this is funny, but Jesus, they're beating us up.
Yeah. So it's like spoken word poetry.
Exactly. So I like a certain amount of diversity.
Yeah.
Now that's perceived and has been said to me. Oh yeah, there go Aries Spears, yo. When I come to the local city I'm in, yeah, other comics, yeah, that nigga don't like niggas on his show. Nigga don't like his own people. Why the fuck do I not like my own people? We do everything well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So of course I love my own people. But in terms of the business I'm in, and I know how this shit goes, I'm gonna do what's most comfortable for me. And anybody in their right mind and in that position would follow suit. And if you tell me you wouldn't, you're lying.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get to places like that particular place,
right?
And it's just like, you know, I mean, people would think that I'm an asshole then, because I'm very much like, I remember, even check this out. I remember the Atlanta Improv back in the day. They're not there anymore, but I walk into the green room after the show, and there's literally 12 comics in the green room. So I said this, oh, this is great. Can you guys go get 10 more people? You know, and then that everybody
Did they even catch it?
Yeah, because everybody cleared out. You know. But then it's like, oh, Eric Griffin's an asshole. Like, okay, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Well, and here's the thing.
You know,
I used to give a fuck. Like I would, before they moved the Houston Improv to where it is now, when it used to be some sort of restaurant, some Planet Jungle shit. One day I walked in there was 8 niggas in there. And I'm just like,
it's like, I hate when people put you in a position
to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, it is my show. And I want to be comfortable before the show.
Yeah.
I don't want 8 motherfuckers in here. Like, who the fuck are y'all?
Yeah. Then they want to talk. Then they want to, especially in Atlanta at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. I experienced a lot of comics asking me like they want to learn learn shit.
Right.
You know, it's like I'm doing a show. I'm not doing a symposium.
Right.
You know, just like the Big Brother program.
Right.
You know, it's like, and I don't know you like that.
And I tell people all the time, I was like, look, man, after a show, I go somewhere, man, you want to chop it up. You want to talk about the game from last night. You want to talk about whatever. I'll talk with you. I'll get a beer and converse with you and don't have to know you from Adam. But don't interview me. I just got off work. Please, let's not do the nigga. What was it like when you first started? And what you be doing when you nigga? Come on, man.
Like they do in their podcast right there.
Right.
They just pull out a mic. Here, hold this, Aries. Okay, now let's get to this.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, let me wipe this.
Yeah, you should wipe the sweat.
Yeah. All right. Goddamn. Here we go.
Okay. Now, you have a reputation for being an asshole.
Okay.
But I'm just going to tell you, some of the things I've heard, you can be an asshole.
Well, tell me what you've heard and we'll confirm them.
Okay,
see, that's dangerous.
Okay.
And that's unfair because and that's the problem that I have with show business. People go off of what they hear instead of self-investigation.
This is the investigation. We're confirming right now. I'm getting from the horse's mouth.
No, let me ask you this before we dive into this. Based on what you've gotten this far, do you sense that?
I sense, from text messages from you trying to get on the show, I sense that it's like a 50-50 where like you're an aggressive dude. You want things a certain way. You want it to happen a certain time. And like, you know, and not having, say, a personal relationship with someone and they don't know you like that, it might come across as harsh. It might come across as like, arrogant, like you said. You even said to me, yeah, it could come across like that.
Okay,
it can come across like that. But like, because like I've heard things like, you know, people got horror stories. You know, you get into the GM's car, or you get into the car to go, and they're driving, and they're like, oh yeah, wow, yeah, we had Aries Spears was here, like, you know, and he yelled at me, or like, you know,
I might have, but if I'm yelling at you, I'm not doing, hey man, I ain't got no peanut butter in my dressing room.
Well,
I'm not doing that.
But don't you have something in your rider about you want to be in a black car, and if it's not a black car, you've yelled at people for not having a black car?
At all.
Well, this is we're confirming right now. These are stories that are out there, man.
Let me tell you something.
There are stories out there about
let's clear some of this up.
Yeah.
And I'm not, you know, spitting on from what I've heard. Eddie Griffin has to have a pair of Air Force One sneakers.
But he can't be the standard. Like I hear.
But that what I'm saying is, I'm so low maintenance, nigga. It's shocking.
In comparison to
the only thing I don't even really have a writer. I ask for water. And that's pretty much it. when I do concert shows, niggas be like, hey, I want a tray of hot chicken, some salmon, some exotic bird that lives in a place you've never heard of. I want 5 bottles of liquor.
So you feel like you're getting a bad rap?
Absolutely. All I ask for is water, maybe tea for my throat. But other than that, nah, man. I'm so low maintenance. And I'll have club owners and managers say to me, God, you're easy. Like, yeah. I just don't talk.
You know, it's just one of these things. You know, it's like comics never get to, headliners don't hang out with each other because we're all busy doing other clubs, right?
Let me know what else you've heard. I love this. Yeah. Give me all the shit, nigga. I'm almost willing to say that picture behind you, your boy, Bobby has probably told you some shit.
I don't know. He might have some stories. I'll ask him about it. But I've just heard a lot of like.
Give me some more. Let me diffuse this.
You have been difficult on the road.
But what does that mean?
What, like just like your approach to people, like how you might raise your voice to quite a few people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is this? Well, what do you have to say about this? Like, I'm not trying to say people's names like that because it's no point in that.
None.
This is for you to self-reflect.
Here's where you gonna help me out. Okay. Yay or no? A lot of these motherfuckers in this business, manager-wise, club-wise, promoter-wise, shady.
Oh, I totally agree.
Okay. Let me tell you a story.
But how? But okay.
Where I've raised my voice.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Right.
And my only pushback on that is, you know, just because somebody is shady,
right?
It doesn't. If you respond with shady, you still shady.
I'm not responding with shady.
You know, I'm just saying.
No, I got you.
Or like, however you respond,
right?
It can't. There's levels,
right? My mother once told me, if you're tired of people fucking you, pull your pants up. So, and for a long time, man, I knew I was being fucked. I didn't know the business well enough to know how to finagle it, how to handle it. And everything I've learned on my own. I'm the most successful person in my family. Ain't nobody been to college. Ain't nobody ever had an extra comma on their yearly check. So I am the Michael Jackson of the family. So it wasn't like I had somebody to put me under the wing and go, hey, young fella, let me show you how to maneuver and what to do. And this is a fucked up field to be in, to learn shit,
yes,
being young. So I was at a club at one of the improvs in the Ohio area, and the manager there was shortchanging me on my money, and I knew it. So yeah, I was upset about it, and I said something to the point of, hey man, if you're not gonna handle my money right, then you need to holler at my agent or I'm never coming back here. That turned into, he said, you're gonna have an angry nigger on your hands. And he punched the wall and scared my white, delicate female server.
When did that happen?
Probably 4 times before 4 times ago. I've been to the club 5 times, so maybe about 4 times ago.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, because in this day and age, you can't even, you can't even wink at somebody right now without it be turning into a thing.
Well, so things get exaggerated.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
You misunderstood is what you're saying.
Very, absolutely very. And it's so funny because I will hear people who come to my shows say things like, yo, one of the most coolest, humble, down-to-earth motherfuckers. So many comics from TV and film, they come to the club, they hide out in the green room all night. When the show's over, they don't do no meet and greet. They just come, and they feel like you just come into my city, do your thing, get your money, and bounce. You will find me on that bar stool amongst the people. I hate the green room, personally. I feel like a mouse in a cage. I like to observe the defense and see who in the crowd. Okay, I look at this one motherfucker, what he wearing over there. This bitch ain't got no business with that hat on. This nigga's drunk, so if there's a problem, I gotta know how to attack. That's who I am before a show. So, and as long as you approach me with respect and don't talk sideways to me, man, hug me, man. What's up, man?
I got you.
That's who the fuck I am. I have a short tolerance for this business because this business is fucked up.
So because of that, and your past experiences with these kind of things, so then maybe you have a shorter fuse than most.
I wouldn't say I have a shorter fuse because that would say that to some degree I can't control myself. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm feeling how I'm feeling, it's always methodical. It's always with some thinking behind it. Because I know that I've put myself in positions in the past where even when I knew I wasn't wrong, that's not how the story came out.
Right.
And that stuff either stays with you or comes up at the wrong time and fucks you. So I am on my Magic Johnson tour right now, where everywhere I go, especially in front of white folks, I'm not selling out, but my grin is from temple to temple. Nigga, I am all enamel.
Joker.
I'm doing everything short of hello, my baby, hello, my darling. I remember I had lunch with Chris Rock, dinner with Chris Rock one time, because I was really trying to get him to produce something I wanted to do. And at the end of the meeting, he just goes to me, hey, man, I can just offer you 3 things of advice. 1, stay funny, write as much as you can, and try not to piss these white folks off. So
wait, how you doing?
2 out of 3, baby. I'm getting better. But 2 out of 3, man.
2 out of 3. All right. Yeah, because I could tell you feel something about how people feel about you, and I could tell that it bothers you.
Well, I would like to not give a fuck, as most people that aren't in show business would advise you to do.
Right.
Man, don't give a fuck. Be you. Do you. And a lot of my supporters go, man, one thing we love about you is you so fucking real. You don't soften your material. You remind us of old school comedy. Do you. And it reminds me of Dave Chappelle's When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. I've been doing me for a long time.
Sometimes it goes wrong.
I'm starting to get ready to ask the devil, what's the going rate on a soul, nigga? This other shit.
Maybe you just misplaced yours. You know how you put your keys down, you're like, where's my soul?
Right. Yeah,
where's my soul in the car?
Man, listen, if it's gone, I want to know I gave it up. I
got you.
This business, man, I don't like this business. I always tell people, show business until you get to the elite level, Chris Rock.
Yeah. And even they,
I'm sure they do.
Even if they were, if Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, Chappelle,
Denzel, Will Smith,
if they were all sitting at a Denny's together at a table, at their level, I'm sure that they can find things to complain about.
Well, we all can find things to complain about, but all I'm saying is that when you're at that level where you're making $20 million a film, you box office business, the struggle ain't really a struggle. Yeah, you can find something to complain about, but in comparison to,
I know you complaining about your private jet companies.
Exactly. What a great complaint to have.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, like, I always tell people, this business is like eating real crab. The kind with the newspaper and the hammer. You got to bust through a lot of shell.
It's like eating a pomegranate.
For that sweetness. But it's so fucking sweet. Like Chris Rock had the best saying. He goes, the worst job in show business is better than the best job out of it.
Yeah.
So I always said, nigga, I will quit if I have to play the Nickelodeon TV dad with child canned laughter.
Right.
But I would know. But I would imagine that doing that versus something outside of show business. But then again, I don't know, because my whole thing is when you have the moments where you get to live the life, the red carpets, the adoration, the we love you and all of this and go to the Hollywood function, there's nothing like it. There's fucking nothing like this. It's sweet. But the bullshit you got to put up with to get that piece of, it'll drive you crazy, man. It'll drive you fucking crazy. Now, again, like you said, once you become the Kevin Harts and the Chris Rocks, yeah, you're complaining about your jet. But by that time, everything else is...
Yeah, but sometimes people, you lose perspective because of your circumstances.
Well, yeah, I think you can. But I think if you can find a way not to, who wouldn't want to enjoy that life?
Yeah.
Who it's intoxicating. Who wouldn't want, to have that?
Well, okay. You're a misunderstood soul, and you've been doing it a long time.
Right.
And it's like, we get beat down in this business. All right. So what are some of your highlights then? Like, what are some of the things where you look back and you go, oh, man, I'm so glad I did this?
Oh, I don't regret having done MadTv, because if I hadn't, it wouldn't, I'd be a lot less famous than I am or successful than I am. And again...
So MadTv is obviously a huge highlight.
Yeah, because
was there a particular season that you were like, I was on fire that season?
Listen, from seasons 3 till about 6, we were a well-oiled machine.
Yeah,
and that ability to play off of each other, it's like being in sports and playing with your teammates, and you get better because they make you better, and you learn shit. So comedy and timing. Now again, in perspective, SNL is the NFL. We were more like the CFL.
Yeah.
So it's a little frustrating because I always felt like, and let me go to boxing terms, there's the people's champ and then there's the paper champ.
Yeah.
You would love to be both.
Right.
But some boxers on paper are the shit, but the fans couldn't give a damn. And then vice versa. The fans love you, but the boxing, the powers that be on paper, meh. So I've always been, I feel, the people's champ. These streets love me. These motherfuckers, everywhere I go, black, white. I took my daughter to Red Lobster today for her birthday for lunch. She loves Red Lobster. And this middle-aged white woman that looked like she wouldn't say hello to me in the brightest of sunlight.
She would clutch her purse.
Clutch her purse, nigga, with the cell phone in her hand. I'm eating. I didn't even see her approach me. She put her hand on my shoulder and went, your comedy special, Hollywood Look, I'm Smiling. We love you. We miss you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, like I say, everywhere I go, from different walks of life, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, old, young, gay, straight. They do everything, and I'm pleased. I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to be conceited, but they do this shit, man. Yo, you one of the GOATs, one of the legends. You've been doing this for 30 years, nigga. Your body of work on MadTv, ridiculous. Your Shaq's All-Star Comedy, ridiculous. Your last special, Hollywood Look, I'm Smiling, ridiculous. Niggas that know me, your Vlad TV interviews, how real you kept it about racism and about Hollywood. People love that because that's in short supply.
Mm-hmm.
As we're all trying to be moist now with comedy and not offend and not stand our ground. I'm Floridian with my shit. I stand my ground. I'm not moving, nigga. I'm like Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving, nigga. I'm not leaving, nigga. This is what I know. This is what I bleed, and this is what motivates me. Patrice O'Neal, God rest his soul.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
The baddest motherfucker to me to ever pick up a mic next to Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he was. You know what's funny about him? He was a conspiracy theorist.
I've never been a big conspiracy theorist, and that's part of probably what got him in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Patrice was. You said, I remember being outside the Comedy Store, and he'd just start talking about something, you know. You'd be surprised when he knows something like, hey, I know you was on that thing, and then he would have a thing about it.
Right.
You know. Well, yeah,
that nigga would burn a bridge while he's walking on it.
In front of him.
On some Indiana Jones shit.
Not even like burning it behind.
No, in front of him, nigga. Yeah, man. And that kind of honesty, that kind of like, and I've seen you perform at the Laugh Factory, and I've seen you get it. Matter of fact, my ex-wife was with me at the time. Was my wife when you had her in tears. That feeling when you're a comic and you look into the crowd and you see motherfuckers take their glasses off, they wiping their tear ducts. Motherfuckers is doing this. I had a dude in Alabama one time tell me, "Hey, nigga, time out, nigga, time out." And when I stopped, he yelled out, "Nigga, you good?" Like that kind of shit.
My favorite compliment it was at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. A middle-aged black man.
Mm-hmm.
After my set, he walked to me and he said like this, "Poignant set, brother. Poignant set."
He used the word poignant.
And I knew exactly what he meant.
Exactly.
Because he shook my hand strong too. Poignant set, brother. Poignant. And I think he was like saying like, "I'm so glad to see that here." That's the vibe I got from him.
That's exactly what he was saying. Because when I hear people come up to me and go, anybody can say, "Look, you're funny," and funny is subjective. Yeah. So even if you think Carrot Top is whatever, there's somebody out there that has his poster on their wall.
Yeah, and he works hard too.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to say we don't appreciate funny. Yeah, tell me how funny I am. I love it. But every now and then they go, "And you're intelligent."
Yeah, something like those are the good compliments.
You know what I mean? Because
you're funny. You made me think.
Right, because it means not only am I coming in there and showing you I can slug, nigga, but I know how to box. I know how to make you think. I got some more whip and whop to my game other than just trying to be Tyson and take your fucking head off. Not many comics possess all of those abilities.
I think that I remember the first time I did Tripping on Tuesday in the Comedy Store main room.
Right.
I remember the first time I did it, the show, and I did it because Dave Arnold and Chris Spencer just happened. We were doing the Laugh Factory out in the casino. Remember that ghetto room that they
yeah. Do they still have that?
I have no idea, but it was the worst combat comedy, right? Like
that's
just
a perfect phrase.
Just
I never heard
worst.
that.
It's combat comedy, and just like the security is in the room, but they not in. They only gonna do something in case some shit jump off.
Right.
But then I remember they saw me, and that was the first time because you don't normally watch other comics. Yeah. But if you happen to, and you go, "Oh, I really think this guy's funny," so they watched me. We were all laughing about it afterwards, and then they told Jerrod, who was running the show, was like, "Hey, put me up." And so they put me up on the main room, and I hadn't done an all black audience crowd, like a real show in a while when I did this. This is years ago because I just had so many bad experiences. You know what I mean? But I realized,
and I get the sense, Erik, from watching you. For having seen you do stand up, and you look a little bit.
I'm different. I'm racially ambiguous.
Okay, there you go. And I'm not saying you can't because I haven't seen you in those rooms, but even myself, like them rooms where niggas gold teeth, 30 chains, dirty long fingernails. You can tell these niggas, they got some dirt on them. They wouldn't take to you as quickly as.
That's exactly the situation that I was normally in before.
Right.
But what I found now and later in life, being like, after doing comedy for so long, that I've realized that it just really doesn't even matter, because for me, like, I'm big on stage sometimes.
Right.
I'm animated, and I think that that's what connects to some of those type of black audiences. Right. And at the same time, you got this guy that's gonna come up and be like, "Yeah, you saying something poignant," you know what I mean?
Right.
But after I remember I did my set,
right.
I killed that night in
right.
the main room. But that's not even really like black, because half the room got headshots. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's be, but you in Hollywood. Let's not call this a black room, all right? But this is like my Hollywood black room. But anyway, I saw this black comic came up to me like a couple days later, and he came up to me, "Hey man," but it's like I was like, "Oh, here we go." You know what I mean? I saw you in the main room doing your little set. Your
little set.
Yeah,
that's never good.
But he was like, but he said to me, he said, and then he said, "But then I saw you in the OR the night before, and you did the same set in front of all those black people. How'd you do that?" Because it was a black comic. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought he was coming up with some shit. And I thought to myself, that's when I knew I was going to be fine.
Right.
Because it was like, whatever I do, and it might be heightened, when you're performing, when people want more of like what you, because I think black rooms are more about what you do, not necessarily about what you say. How you say it You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's a little bit of that too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you talking if you're talking about shit that you just know is beyond their area code, you have to be able to comprehend some of this shit in order to flow with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Lou, I want to ask you a question now because me and my podcast partner, Andy Steinberg, we talked about this a little bit. And I'm thinking about the Baltimore Comedy Club, you know, the white comedians in this business whose names carry weight, Seinfeld, Louis C.K. And I remember I even heard it on YouTube. He did a funny story about having performed both at Chocolate Sundays and Mo Better Mondays and the difference. And it was a racial thing. And my question to you is this. In my mind, all the greatest comedians have the ability, through their material being so good, to translate color. Mm-hmm. They make everybody see it. Can you truly call yourself a great comic if what you do can't be done in both rooms? Because as funny as Seinfeld is, and I think he's one of the best, because as a comic, we have an appetite for everything. But I question, could he do a Mo Better Mondays or a Chocolate Tuesdays and crush the same way?
You know what? I think that he could. And the reason is because here's what I find. I find that first of all, the black audience is just as scared of you as you are of them. Okay? And they are, because I find.
I don't know if I buy that one, brother.
No, dude. The moment I found that the moment you crack back, they already like, oh, okay.
But cracking back, in and of itself, is its own skill.
Right. I get that. But I'm saying the moment you take charge of the room.
Okay.
And I think somebody that's a wordsmith that allows themselves to have the energy to be able to, like, this is my point from beginning to end. These people, because first of all, my problem with the black comedy is that the comics themselves don't respect the black audience enough. They don't respect. It's just like the movie, Fade to Black. Okay,
I didn't see that.
Oh shit, Jay-Z's in his office. And
yeah.
And he's talking to these young rappers.
Okay,
And these young rappers are like, Jay-Z's like, why y'all rapping about that stuff? And he got, we got to, you know, we have to rap about this stuff. They ain't gonna listen to us. And I said, comedy's the same way. You don't have to talk about these things that, like you talking about, like if a black comic's coming up before you talking about the differences with race and that, you don't necessarily have to talk about those things.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be whatever what the stereotype of a black comic is to win over the crowd. And so I think that a high level comic with a high level IQ about what they're talking about, they're gonna do fine. It's gonna be different. It might not be belly laughs, but it's gonna be different. I think it can be appreciated. And the fact that people think that the black audience can't appreciate cerebral comedy, to me, is the part of the problem.
Yeah, I think I'm split on that. I
feel you. It's okay.
I think some black people are equipped to deal with it, but some just ain't.
You mean white comics, you're saying?
Yes. Some just ain't. Again, going back to the Jerrod Carmichael. I don't think that Jerrod Carmichael's blackness should ever be in question. I think he's 100% power to the people.
Yes, he is.
But his thinking level and his skill level and his delivery and his cadence might be a little too slow for niggas that's, you know, wanting to tear the club up.
But here's the thing that I know about Jerrod being so close to him. It's all by choice. You know?
His choice.
Yes, his choice. Like he could, what do you want to say, blacken it up?
Okay.
Or he could make that a shift because, you know, you talk differently in front of different types of people.
Absolutely.
You know, if you at a funeral, even if you're going to tell a joke at a eulogy to give some levity to the situation, it's going to come across differently than it's going to come across in a comedy club. When you're doing a corporate gig, it's different. If you're doing a church gig, it's different. You're going to change your thing. So for his thing, his choice is, I'm not going to do church gigs because I don't want to change what I do.
Right.
But it's not to say that he can't. You know, I just think that I know what you're talking about. There are some comics, I see them and I go, I don't think this person's ever going to be able to make the switch. In the same way that I see some like sort of like real ghetto ass black comics, they want to go to the Improv on a Friday night at 8:00 and make these white people laugh, and they feel like they can't. I mean, I think it's the same kind of thing. You know, when you have people like uncomfortable, they looking at you like, I don't.
But again, do you think that makes them less of a comic?
Yeah, sometimes I think that not less than the comic, but I just think that they're not going to all of their skill sets. I think that they're not taking the time to really like, oh, I need to do more.
Right.
I need to like not because not everybody feels they have to. Some people get comfortable.
Right.
There's a lot of money to be made in the black market. There's comics out there that we know that like I never see do. You know, would be on Evening at the Improv, or you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There's Arnez J and these types of people out there that are just like, you know, backflipping all over the place, and like, you know, they're doing well in the black audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do those people translate over to the white audience? Do they want to?
Right.
Like, can they? But that doesn't mean that they can't, if given the opportunity, rise to the challenge.
Well, I think I would like to see it though, because otherwise you're just guessing. You know, when you look at a Louis C.K. and a Seinfeld, and you know how great they are, you'd say to yourself, "There's no way they couldn't." But
so you don't think Louis can perform in front of a black crowd if it was like,
I think
just on a regular night he walks in, you think that he's gonna get stumped?
This is what was so great about the story he told. And Mo Better Mondays is way more niggas an attitude
that's some combat
than Chocolate
comedy.
Sundays. So he went on.
That's D-Ray's fault too. The way he this motherfucker set the show up like this next fool, you know, like just the way he bringing you up. Like I wouldn't want him to introduce me to somebody on a date because he would be like, you know, he lived with his mom, he don't got no job. You know, like, why would you say that? Why would you bring me up like that?
So Louis tells the story, and it goes pretty relatively well at Chocolate Sundays. And he goes, yeah, I went up on Mo Better Monday, and I remember I did the joke and I did the punchline, and there was nothing. And I could literally feel where the black people in the crowd were like, oh shit, that was it. That was his punchline. This motherfucker. So I think like this, anybody that's really great, you can take some time. After about 3 or 4 sets, he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But just off the cuff, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, but I've even seen I've seen Chris Rock come into the OR in the Comedy Store. You know, he just coming in because he's working on something.
Right.
And immediately he comes in and lower your expectations. You know what I mean?
Right. But then he goes on to crush, doesn't he?
No, I've seen him he's working it out. I've seen him working it out. I saw him when he was preparing for his Oscar thing, and he was just working it out. There was moments where you're like, ha, but it wasn't like you were like, oh my God, because he was working it out. So I'm just saying, you know, give me, like, if we're doing a contest, if this was going to be on NBC and they were like, all right, you know, this is how they should have done Last Comic Standing, you know what I mean? Where like, you know, all right, it's all black audience tonight. You know, you don't know till you get out there. If we were doing it like that, then that
would be far more interesting.
We'd see how it would go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would see how it would go. But I just think from doing Baltimore Comedy Factory when I first started doing it, that was something that I experienced. Was like one night because I would promote the show on a rock show, so there would be like a lot of white people in some of the shows. Yeah,
God,
the reason why
like 4.
The reason why the guy was bringing me to the club twice a year is because I drew a lot of white people in one show. Like literally the whole show's white, and then the late show. It's all black. Like I was so thrown aback by it. Like I went out on stage and I was like, oh shit, this is. I was like, okay, this is Def Jam all of a sudden. Like it was really like a jarring thing because I just did 3. I'm doing 3 shows. This is the 3rd show. I just did a show like there was some like sort of rednecks in the 2nd show. I remember, you know, and now I'm doing like this is like, and then, you know, the chicken wings is flying and everybody's like, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, and you become like I become a chameleon. I become like, all right, I gotta like, okay, y'all, okay,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I gotta like, you know, you adjust.
You know, I would say on stage sometimes I would go, especially when I would do a room where before I started bringing a feature with me regularly, and they would provide the features. And sometimes, you know, it'd be like local white boy or whatever, and this motherfucker
local white boy,
motherfucker tank terribly, and I'm not shitting on the comedian, but I'm pointing out something I notice, which is, and I say this on stage, white people, y'all applaud effort. Like if a comic come up and don't really say nothing funny, but he put a lot of work in the joke, you could tell there was a lot of, he laced it with a lot of profanity, or he exuded a lot of energy. White people will simultaneously go, woo! Niggas don't give a fuck about effort. We want results.
I disagree with you.
Really?
Yes. There are more standing ovations in a black room than any room.
But you have to earn that. Black people ain't just standing up to stand up. Counterpoint. But go ahead.
I'll just tell you, I think the most loving, and they are bipolar audience, the black audience. It is a bipolar audience. You get the highest highs and the lowest lows, but they are ready to love. The black audience is the most loving audience.
Did you ever do a Comedy Central Presents?
No, I did half. It was called a half.
Well, same thing.
Yeah.
I remember when I did my Comedy Central Presents, and even when I was watching Comedy Central Presents before I did mine, one thing I hated about it was I said, this gives comics who are just okay a false sense of hope. Because they're geared, they make the audience applaud break during certain parts of your set.
Oh, they stopped doing that.
Well, this is what I'm saying, though. But they used to make the audience simultaneously, the full room after a certain joke. And I'm going, that joke's not funny enough for that. And you're making comics who aren't great go, yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da. An applause break is something you have to earn to make motherfuckers go, oh, shit, without an applause sign or being, made to do that.
I would say to you, I understand I understand where you're coming from with that, but I've been in these rooms you're talking about, and I don't think that it's deserving of that.
Oh, an applause break.
Yes, I don't think it's deserving of like some of the response that you get. Like I've seen, like sometimes the crowd looks like they paraplegic dancing. You know what I mean? Right. They're so excited about what was just said. It's like, for instance, when I look back on Def Jam, when I look back on some of the early Def Jam, and I see and you hear some of the jokes that were being said that made people go crazy. It don't stand up today.
Well, listen. But then that leans on the subjective thing.
Yeah, I get it.
If an entire audience does that without being told to do that, without being prodded, well, then that's what it is. But when you make an audience go, oh shit, applause sign. Well, then that's false.
But the thing about it is, what I think you're forgetting in that situation is that they're making a television show.
I know that. But it still doesn't erase the fact that you're giving someone nobody's gonna, as a comic, gonna be on stage, get an applause break because it's a television show, and not walk away from that thinking, I didn't do that, it was just a television show.
But
that feeds your ego.
Yeah, but I would venture, they're not picking people off the street to give a half hour to.
No.
So like whatever they did to earn that half hour, however it's put together, I'm fine with it. Because
that's like whatever you've done to be a part of the race, fine. But don't give everybody trophies. Give the motherfuckers trophies who won.
Yeah, but this isn't the trophy. I mean, it's like, they did the race. This is the award ceremony. That's what the special is at that point. It's just an award ceremony, man.
Now, is this the shit that make me come off like an asshole?
No, this is good stuff.
I'm just saying, because,
this is good.
You would have
been an asshole if you would have came in the door and been like, why is it so hot in here? It's fucking hot.
I just want to, because this is the kind of shit I say, and to me, I don't want to come in here with you or anybody else and give the fake, we're doing a production, let's be fake.
No. We having a real conversation.
But sometimes when you say shit that might not be either politically correct or, goes against the grain, people perceive this as assholism.
No, I think that it's like, I think having pride in the job and having a pride in like our art form, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
And I feel that that's where you're coming from. You know what I mean? Because I get it too, because we've all looked at like where we look at things and go, how the fuck did that dude get a special?
Right.
I mean, that's just, every comic does that.
Right.
I don't care who you are.
I'm glad you're saying that because most people would deny that.
Oh, no. Especially now. No, it's not even, this is filtering into regular people. I don't know if you watch Family Guy.
Oh, love it.
Okay, did you see the episode where like Peter is like, oh, they're making fun of Netflix specials?
No, I didn't see that. I haven't seen it recently, but
I'm
a big fan of it.
It's so funny. It's like, and then Brian says to him, Peter, you're actually filming your stand-up special right now. And then the living room opens up and it's a crowd. I mean, Netflix has made it where everybody has a special. It's like a lot of like 15-minute specials, 8-minute specials. They're going to do like 100 2-minute specials eventually, Right. So they've diluted the market. So what we're talking about is like, because we come from an era where the word special meant something.
Right.
So take that out. But like, listen, when I did my half hour, I felt like they did it wrong. I felt like there should be 2 shows. Set us up to succeed. Mm-hmm. Do 2 shows. I did it with Lil Rel at the time. And I thought that they set him up for failure that night because the 8 black people in Boston who came, because we did it in Boston, who came to the show for him,
Right.
and all these white people who love workaholics, you know what I mean? So I went up first before him, and it was just like, hey, who likes workaholics? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, this isn't, they didn't do this right. They didn't get the best from it. Haven't you ever seen somebody you think is really funny do a TV set, and then you go, what happened?
Right.
Well, what I know from doing TV sets now, that it's not necessarily the comic's fault.
Oh, well, listen, dude, from what I've heard, I've never done one, but from what I've heard, trying to do a Tonight Show or do that stand-up on them late night shows, nigga, they butcher your shit down to, why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's a skill in the same way that you're talking about. In the same way that you're talking about, people have to adjust to do white rooms, black rooms. To me, you also have to adjust to what is it to do a television set.
You're right. Fair enough.
You know?
One of the funniest clips ever, Patrice O'Neal, and it's Patrice, I forget the other comic's name, but Opie and Anthony, and they're talking about handicapped comics of some sort. And I forget, she was real popular back in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Female. And before they even play her clip, they're talking about how terrible she is. And at one point, they play her material, and she goes, I got the clap on and the clap off. It's a shame when my equipment here is better than I do. And then there's a pause, and Patrice just goes, this bitch stinks, man. And he goes, you got to understand something. I'm not trying to be mean, but I am waiting for fame to call me. And this bitch is getting off with this terrible material. Now, again, I think everybody, to some degree, wishes they could be that. That's Patrice. And maybe,
it wasn't always
right.
Yeah, it wasn't always good.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, but the part that I'm taking from it is that how can a guy or anyone be that goddamn funny, that goddamn good, and not get they just due? Now, I know he burned a lot of bridges.
Well, okay, you just answered the question. Okay, well, think of it like this, too, then. There are people in the NBA. People get to the NBA because they have tremendous talent.
Right.
They won the genetic lottery.
Right.
And they have tremendous talent, and they're out here in the NBA. There's not everybody that fulfills their potential. This is a privilege. It's not a right. So just because somebody is hilarious, like Patrice, or many people that we know.
Right.
We all know a GOAT. We all know somebody that's like, I wish more people knew who this dude is. But they don't also need to have business savvy. They need to know that they need to cultivate relationships. They need to know that they need to, work on how to perform in front of different types of people. They need to know that, like, when keeping it real goes wrong.
Right.
They need to know that those is also part of the business. If this was just about being funny, then how many people would be doing it?
Well, then maybe that's where my skills need to sharpen up.
Yes,
because Chris told
motherfucker.
Chris
to take it full circle. That's what the fuck I've been trying to tell you.
Chris says to Patrice, and everything you just said, what Chris said, there it is. That's the peanut butter and jelly. But it pains me to hear it because I'm just going, how could that be? He goes, it ain't about the jokes. It ain't about the jokes. And I'm going, we're in the business of jokes, ain't we?
Are we?
Oh, it's show business, my money.
This is an entertainment business. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Well, the reason why they make people clap at those things, because it's a television show where they have to sell ad revenue. Like you coming across like, no.
But you as the audience watching at home, are you fooled by that?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're at home just like, oh, I enjoyed that. I always tell people when they doing television tapings, act as if you're killing. Even if you're not killing, make it look like you're killing. Fake it till you make it.
Woo.
And that's what television is.
Woo.
You coming from a perspective of like, as if this is like in some barn someplace and the local people come to the barn because this is how they do it. This is real. But that might not be entertaining to the masses.
Okay. That's a fucking tough pill to swallow, dude.
Well, but haven't learned. You've seen it. You're just accepting it for the first time, but you've been fighting this fight your whole fucking career, man. This is your fight your whole career. Could you be nicer? Could you be a nicer human being?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if I look back,
does it hurt?
And if I look back,
does it hurt you?
No.
It hurts your pride, but it don't hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning to less Ice Cube and more Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
So
or find some place in the middle.
Right.
And I'm not saying you have to kowtow all the time.
I got you. No, I got you.
You know what I mean? But maybe when you get in the car and you don't know if this is the manager of the place or not, maybe they don't need to be yelled at because there was traffic and they were late. You know what I mean? Right. I'm just saying, does it hurt you? So this is what I'm saying. This, what we're talking about with you, has nothing to do with your performance on stage, but it might affect how this all coalesces into the fame and fortune that you want. Point. You know what? We go continue this on your podcast.
Yes. Can I mention my podcast?
I want you to right now.
All right.
What time it is? Oh shit, we going too long, huh?
I have a relatively new podcast. It's about 1.5 years old. It's called Spears and Steinberg, aka The Jew and the Jerk. It's available.
Wait. Who are you in that? So you even
Oy vey.
It'd be great if you're the Jew.
Yeah. It's available through Apple's iTunes, or you can go to Spearsburg or Google Play. And
actually, don't even worry about this right now, because all this information is going to be on this episode.
Oh, okay.
So right down below,
like
guys.
Chirons and shit like that?
When you look underneath, you'll see it. I'm going to have all the links and all that stuff,
cool,
and
cool.
I will send my people to you.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm glad you came on. We've talked for over an hour, so I don't want to keep you anymore. I don't even know. Aaron, are we taking up the studio time?
Those pills you saw me taking was some dick pills. I'm about to go fuck when I leave here.
Oh, God.
Really?
Really?
I got type 2 diabetes, nigga. I need it for my dick to get hard. So
type 2 diabetes?
Yeah.
Well, I want you to be healthy then.
I'm working on it, brother.
Yeah, please. I had Billy Gardell on here. He had the same situation.
Really?
Yeah, so I need you to, we all got to get healthy. Look at me. I'm a big fat motherfucker. So we all got to get our shit together. But listen, I'm glad you came on.
Thank you, man.
I felt like you're a misunderstood man. I see that more now. We've never had this long of a conversation before.
Yes.
And I hope we have many more conversations like this.
And more importantly, spread the legend, brother.
Yeah.
Next time I'm like, that nigga's an ass. Well, wait a minute.
Well, but again, I need to hear their side.
The fuck ain't the fuck they side. I'm misunderstood. I'm standing to that.
And then I'm gonna come back to you and be like, did you yell at this? Did you really do this?
Oh my God.
So we'll find look, by the way, before we go, I've heard stories about like Dennis Miller. I heard this story about Dennis Miller where he had worked his ass off his whole career, and now he had a writer and he wanted to be picked up in a limo, right? And he was doing a college, and they brought the volleyball van.
I would have yelled.
And he said, it was the first time he said, no, I'm not going to do it. But it was on principle. But all I'm saying is, would it have hurt him to get in that volleyball van? No.
No, but he has pride.
But sometimes you have to fight for it.
Right.
But you got to pick and choose those moments.
Right.
What I'm saying to you is, I don't think you pick and choose enough.
Well, here's where I made my choice. The last time, way back when I didn't have a writer, and I allowed whoever to pick me up, the club did a clown night before my shows. So they sent the head clown to pick me up at the airport in his official clown car. And I said, no more of this shit.
Yeah.
I need a writer. I'm sitting on squeaky shit.
But it should be case by case.
It made for a great show that night.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But enough of that.
All right, but anyways.
All right.
Look, we're gonna end on him sitting on clown stuff. Again, you'll have all the information about Riffin with Griffin. Remember, you could go to my website, ericgriffin.com, to see my dates. Also, you have a website?
Yes, ariespears.com.
ariespears.com, and all his information is going to be below. Even on the audio, when you're looking at the audio, if you go to the website of the audio, you can see all the information there too, guys.
And all this preparation ain't fatness. It's hot in here.
And it's a little bit.
That too, but you light skin, so that shit is blending in with you.
Yeah.
I look like a patent leather shoe, nigga.
Believe me, this is like, I'm moist as hell underneath all this. I don't know why I wore this sweater. But anyways, I want to thank the great Aries.
It's all good, baby.
I fuck everybody's name up on here.
Say my name right!
Aries.
That's the asshole.
Spears.
Yes, Aries Spears.
No relation to Brittany.
Yes,
okay. Aries Spears, everybody. This has been Riffin with Griffin. Thank you for another great episode. And look for me to go on his episode. We're going to continue this conversation there. So thank you for listening once again. This is Riffin with Griffin, and I'll see you on the next time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.